Welcome everyone to the October 28 2DCC webinar. Today we have Dr. Ronald Redwing, who works on education, training, and diversity aspects of the 2DCC MIP. Dr. Ron Redwing, please go ahead.
Thank you, Kevin. As Kevin said, I'm Dr. Ronald Redwing. I work directly under Eric Hudson, Dr. Hudson, and our responsibilities are some of the programs. There's also some other folks that that this touches on that at various other aspects that other people work on as well. But today I wanted to talk about how the 2DCC engages. And I was trying to think users, potential users. There's really a myriad of ways that 2DCC folks interact with the scientific and the general audiences outside of the center. And hopefully I'm going to hit most of the programs and I don't accidentally leave any highly important ones out today. So pathways to engage, how we, some of the ways that we engage. You're here at the monthly webinar, and that's one of our main ways and our regular ways of engaging. Try to have those, of course, every month, avoiding holidays, etc., other breaks. Graphene and Beyond workshop. Pandemic has changed the format, canceling one and making one virtual. And my understanding is the plan is that next year we'll be back in person, but I don't know that for sure. Maybe, Kevin, do you know?
Right now, the plan is to be on site, but there's quickly an adjustment to at least hybrid, if not virtual, if needed.
Gotcha.
Until further notice.
Yes. So we're hopeful that we can get back together again as a community. Graphene and Beyond, the workshop and user meeting that we usually have around that for the 2DC is one way. Step Forward program is a program that, back up here. Step Forward program is a program where we try to facilitate faculty adding on an extra visit if they're making a trip, and really trying to reach out to non-R1s, minority serving institutions, primarily undergrad institutions, to make sure that we reach out, that we get our scientific message out as broadly as possible on all trips. Fellows, and I'm going to talk more about some other programs that maybe you are interested in, or I think maybe some folks in the audience have participated in, where they've come to the facility for training. One of those programs is the research experience for undergrads. So we bring in undergrads to work in our laboratories. In addition, we've added a couple of new programs recently. Our resident scholar visitor program, which is more directed at, rather than the undergrad program I just mentioned, more for grad students or early career folks to come and have extended stays. Since their schedules are a little bit more flexible, it's not a summer only program. However, we are finding that many people do come during this kind of the summer months to the facility. But this is an option that I'm going to talk about more at the end, as our application has opened up again for next year's participants. A newly funded Partnerships for Research and Education and Materials program. I'm going to discuss that a little bit today as well. So this is a National Science Foundation program that is initiated. The main grant writers are at a minority serving institution and they partner with centers, or in our case, the facility, our facility, to work for a multi-year program. 6 years, I believe, is the extent of this grant, to make some real exchanges of students, ideas, faculty, to try to make long-term partnerships, real partnerships, research partnerships. So I mentioned the webinar series. So the webinars, as you know, are free. You have to do, well, you're supposed to do an online registration, and this particular group seems to have found a way around that. And as Kevin pointed out, we record them for dissemination. We try to do our technical talks. What's new to us, inside speakers, plus try to make sure that we keep a pulse on the overall scientific community by inviting outside speakers with the latest topics. And today I would say my presentation definitely follows into the last category, which is that I'm giving you a broader view of what the facility is doing. And in addition to those kinds of talks, we also present, science related to diversity or other topics around research, but maybe about how we do the research or how the community is composed. Mentioned the Graphene and Beyond workshop already. So this is an annual workshop. In the past, before the COVID restrictions, we were having approximately 150 attendees. We couple it with other events, including since the 2DCC has been in existence, the user meeting of the 2DCC. One of the ways the 2DCC has provided extra for the Graphene and Beyond is to provide some support to non-R1, primarily undergrad institutions, and it looks like I missed a letter, and MSIs, minority serving institution faculty and students, to help them afford to come to the conference. In addition to our researchers, staff, faculty going out to present and spreading the word by giving their presentations, we also sponsor workshops. They're an excellent opportunity to expand our visibility and highlight our user success, since we largely control the schedule of, for example, MRS symposiums, or in the case of the summer school, we can make sure that we invite users to present and participate in all levels. I'm happy to say that I think our website has filled out nicely over the years, and there is quite a bit of information on our website. And so I would encourage you to take some time to go dig in and just look around. And if you do find a broken link, etc., please send us an email to let us know. And remember to subscribe, or as the YouTubers say, hit that subscribe button to get on our listserv. It's very customizable so that you can determine what aspects of the MRI, the 2DCC that you wish to engage with. So it does have the ability to customize exactly what is being delivered to your email inbox. Some recent website additions. We are adding lab walkthroughs and putting more information, and we're expecting that in the future that we'll even branch off of these lab walkthroughs even more with links to relevant videos on particular pieces of equipment. So this is constantly expanding and evolving, but the lab walkthrough, as you kind of see on this animation, is already up. And maybe we're exploring using these for the opportunity for remote training, to really beef up our training visuals. Expanded online tutorials. The PREM, one of the aspects of the PREM is that our Florida International University partner has, as part of that partnership, requested that we maybe develop a training certificate or something along that line that their students could get trained and then put on their resume for their career development. So that program, if you will, is giving us a lot of incentive to really beef up even more our online tutorials and characterization training, et cetera. And expect to hear more as we've been talking to the Penn State Materials Characterization Laboratory, and expect to hear more in the future about upcoming ideas and things that we'll be launching. Collaborative tools. I'm not going to talk about LIST. That's really the domain more of Kevin Dressler and Conrad. But we are also working to make our website more interactive and be able to have access to tools, whether it be for looking at the different ways of looking at the data that we've archived, or in the case of like the program Step Forward, identifying institutions that are nearby where you might be visiting. So we're trying to make our website, where possible, have tools that, again, will engage, be useful to our community at large. When the opportunity presents itself, we definitely will try to work with industry to develop unique tools that are specific to the 2D area, research area. And, this obviously has a number of benefits. Access sometimes to cutting edge technology, helping with collaborations, and sometimes we don't know where these collaborations are going with companies, developing potential contacts for when our students or faculty might decide to leave Penn State and expand on their careers. So it gives them a chance to collaborate outside of the university environment. And it's always difficult to move things from the lab to market. And again, we're very open to collaborating with companies, small companies, large companies. One of the ways of doing that is the SBIR program, or the STTR grants, which are initiated on the industrial side with, in the case of the STTRs, with an academic partner. And one of the concerns that we've identified is that if a small company, these SBIRs, STTRs, sometimes have a very short lifetime. So we want to make sure that we accelerate our sample supply, that we give those companies the best opportunity of being successful in their proposal and their ultimate program. So we provide some accelerated sample supply route for those folks. Users can interact kind of three basic modes we've identified. you can be remote. You have the web page, you can request samples. There's lots of ways that, interact with our folks. You can visit, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the programs to make that possible in my future slides. And then you could be independent. You can be trained, fully trained, and work independently rather than with working closely with a host. How do you become a 2DCC user? I suspect many of you in this audience already know this or already are users, but so we have two proposal types. We have a research proposals, which typical duration is 1 to 2 years. It consists of a 3-page max proposal that's externally reviewed. You can also you can look online, you can talk with our technical staff and find out what samples we have currently available or likely to have available in the near future. And you can make a request for standard samples. These are reviewed internally, more reviewed by, can we deliver what you need for your study is a big thing that we look at. And so this is a request for samples that we've either already been producing, or like I said, we're in the near future we could produce. This proposal is just a 1-page max description plus an NSF style bio. One of the ways that we've tried to engage with industry is to make sure that we are being active in the industry-centric research centers and consortiums. So this slide just outlines some various consortiums and research centers which engage regularly with industrial or target for industrial partners. So I've wanted to point out kind of how the 2DCC tries to engage with our users, the scientific community. And another way of saying this is we're trying to expand the 2DCC ecosystem. So with our online website, data requests list, we're trying to enable new modes of research. I would also say, I think our research interactions, we're always trying to engage. We're open to new ideas. Well, at least I hope we are. We try to engage government labs and industry, which, isn't always the first thing that we do. Sometimes we get locked into our department towers, and we try to avoid that as a facility. We try to promote user collaborations, hosting the webinars, the user meetings. We want to build research partnerships, and I'm going to outline one of those research partnerships that's now evolved for a couple proposals off of a user program in the next few slides, and also the training of the next generation. So I'm going to mention the RSV, the Resident Scholar Visitor Program, and again, circle back and talk about the REU program. Kevin, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Unfortunately, my computer has decided not to let me go to the next slide.
Just click on your, you should be able to see your dual screen, what do you call that, presenter view? Just click on the arrow that clicks to the right. Sometimes
Thank
that wakes
you.
it up.
That did it.
You're welcome.
So one of the research partnerships that we've had ongoing that has been bearing fruit, if you will, is a collaboration, a user program from Professor Danielle Rodu, who's currently at Florida International University. This started as a user project, and it evolved to a NASA proposal and award in 2019. And in the last PRIM cycle, it just got funded this year for a partnership for research and education and materials. Okay, so this is again a user project that then evolved to being writing proposals, being part of the collaborative team, and has grown to, again, a center and a PRIM, which is a fairly large program that's just started up. So what is the PRIM? That's a NSF, National Science Foundation, Partnership for Research and Education and Materials. It is a program where the main PIs, it's initiated by a university that is a minority serving institution, which partners with, in our case, our facility. There's also one on campus, which partners with the MRSEC on campus. So major centers, material centers. So the overarching goal of these is to increase diversity and promote greater inclusion of underrepresented minority groups and women in cutting edge materials research, education, and profession. So as you can see, there's three very healthy thrusts that FIU has developed, and the lead and co-leads are FIU PSU folks to work on these. A large component of this grant is faculty and student exchange. So if you are a Penn State graduate student and you would like to be considered to going to FIU, or if they have facilities and research, please let me know, because I'm looking for folks to as part of that exchange. And also as part of that exchange, we've already had a student from FIU, and there's a few more in the pipeline that'll probably be coming up next summer for our REU program. So a couple of years ago, right before the renewal, our proposal for renewal was due, we decided that we would go ahead and pilot an idea that we had for the proposal, which was that we noticed that we were neglecting is the right word, that we could do more to encourage grad students to come and use our facility, and early career faculty, postdocs. So I would like to let everybody know that we've now opened up. The deadline is January 31st, 2022. It's weird saying 2022 already, but that's when the deadline for these proposals to come and join, really work closely with faculty and staff of the 2DCC. We line you up with a host and make sure that you're working very closely with folks on a 2 to 6 month project here at the 2DCC. Funding is available for travel and housing. In our pilot year, we had 3 grad students. Last year, we had 4 grad students and an assistant professor. We have budgeted to increase that to 8 per year going forward in the next cycle. So this is the opportunity for folks to come. If you are a faculty member at another institution and you're a user or want to be a user, to consider sending one of your students here, working with them. And I would also encourage you that unlike a National Science Foundation proposal, we strongly encourage that you talk with the staff before you write your proposal and you get an idea of what capabilities try to align your proposal to our current state of the art is. So it's a little bit more interactive than your standard National Science Foundation proposal. And we have the opportunity to do that. So, as I mentioned, the application deadline is January 31st. For more information, go to our website. If you go to the MIP website and look under outreach, you'll find a tab for the RSVP program, or you could directly go there with this link. You must be a grad student enrolled or hold a current postdoc or early career position at an accredited U.S. institution of higher education. And the reason, of course, is that our funding is limited to funding within the U.S. If you're an undergrad or an undergrad that's interested in 2D materials, would strongly encourage you to have them apply. So our research experience for undergrad, the last 2 years has been run virtually, but we're hopeful that we're going to be able to go in person next summer again. So we actually partner with the NanoFab, the Penn State NanoFab, and we will be coupling the students with projects. If you are one of our 2DCC users and you recommend someone, please, in a letter recommendation, please let us know if you've got a particular interest. 2D materials, we do take those into consideration when we're matching students up with faculty. If there's particular expertise that you'd like the student to get, projects to work on, people to work with in the 2DCC, I would encourage you to make note of that and let us know that. The website, the applications are available. Actually, I just realized I actually do need to double check the application. Some of the verbiage dates might be incorrect on there. I need to go dig one more level deeper, but the dates for our program next year are May 31st to August 5th, 2022. So I have talked straight through, and I've thrown a pie graph on here because I didn't feel I had enough data in my talk. But if you have any questions, please let Kevin know, and I'll be happy to answer them or attempt to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Ron. So we have plenty of time for questions. We did have one in the chat box where an individual was asking about how wide is the scientific or investigation area. I believe they were referring to the RSVP program. And I had answered in the box, and everyone should know this, is that we sort of bin projects by facility of the 2DCC. So on our website, we have the different facility areas and the research that is done in each. We have 3 main facilities, which is the thin films and in situ characterization. That's one of them. We have a bulk growth facility, and we have a theory and simulation facility. So basically projects that involve 2D or layered materials that involve mainly chalcogenides across those different types of facilities are in play. And in the past, some people have proposed just one facility. Other peoples have proposed that they wanted to grow not only thin films, but also bulk samples because their research project it would make sense to do both types of materials. So really what it's related to is what exactly kind of project do you want to do? And in speaking with our staff, it might be helpful to know a little bit more about our capabilities so that you can properly allocate where things would go in the facility for your project. So I think we've answered that question. If you have any more questions, you can contact me or you can contact Ron offline.
Kevin,
We
I'd
can
like
answer
to
more about it.
add,
Yeah.
and of course, many people do the experimental side and couple the theory as well, just to.
Okay. Any more questions? You can unmute yourself if you like. If you have a direct question for Ron. Okay. So what I'll do right now is I'll just stop the recording and Ron and I will stay on for a little while longer for those who would like to continue to follow up. And if everyone drops off, then we'll drop off. Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you.